Hey guys, it's Chris, and welcome to Toneful, the self-actualization video series, episode number 81. Let Serenity Survive. So in this week's episode, guys, I want to talk about how when we've learned to focus and we've created consistency that has now become freedom, one of the things you're going to notice is increased productivity. And with that increased productivity, we're now going to finally have moments that our mind is actually free. And this might be something that we're not used to because of the fact that we've been for such a long time dealing with the sensation of feeling forced to finish projects or working through task lists while being distracted. But now comes the really most interesting part of the process. What do you do with freedom when you finally have it? And many people get put in a position where they feel almost overwhelmed by what actual mental freedom feels like and to be with themselves. A lot of people end up putting time into distractions like their cell phone. They end up starting to look for people to talk to. They call friends. They start looking for family members just to randomly spend time with. And there's nothing wrong with any of these things because in our free time, we do need to be utilizing that emotionally and mentally free space to be developing our relationships. But also, in this time, you finally have a moment for yourself. You finally have a moment for serenity. Imagine you're done with all of the tasks that are on your list. You've finished the project that you've been trying to work on. The sun is shining through your window, and you're able to look at the plants that are there, and you can finally reflect on some of the things that you've been doing. Just taking a moment to soak in that moment. It's actually hard to imagine, right? Because most of us would actually give that moment away in order to be distracted by something. In those few moments, we're going to pick up the phone and start scrolling. And in that scrolling, we forget we didn't have to take in any of this information that's on the phone. Or in that moment, we're deciding to call up a friend and listen to their problems and talk to them and see what's going on in their day, without ever realizing that we could have took a moment to see what's just going on inside ourselves and check in with ourselves in that serenity, in that moment. Because real freedom is so rare. When it does show up, we actually don't know what to do with it. We're actually, in a lightweight way, I think a lot of people are scared of it. And because of that, they're going to do a lot of little habitual things to take away their own freedom. Isn't that crazy to think? We're working for freedom. People want financial freedom. People want mental freedom, emotional freedom. But when any of those things shows up, most people actually don't utilize it. They actually put themselves back in a place where they're in financial jail, emotional jail. And it's crazy. So for example, people who want financial freedom, they go, if I have enough money, I would go on vacations. And then they overspend on a vacation. They go and literally burn the money that they built up so they can feel secure. Because financial security isn't infinite. You got to be careful with that. People who are looking for emotional freedom. Maybe they're finally not in a relationship right now. They broke out of something that was unhealthy. They're experiencing the moment for themselves. And that moment comes. And then they go look for other people to focus on, to fill their emotions up once again with other people's stuff. They don't even allow themselves to feel that freedom enough to realize you're blessed to have that freedom because you created the circumstances in which you could be there. And so by what I'm saying here, I think you can see why serenity is one of the hardest feelings to actually allow ourselves to feel. To be in the moment and say, I'm here. I'm here. It's not about how much money I have at this moment. It's not about what I could be doing at this moment. But it's allowing myself, ourselves, to feel what's there. What am I thinking, actually? I haven't gotten time to think for myself. What is my reaction and what is the feeling that is coming up now that I've noticed because I finished on my projects, that I finished the task list at hand. Am I feeling happy, accomplished? Am I feeling sad and burdened or bored? And that's creating like a type of uneasiness, like an anxiety that nothing's going on, nothing's going on. Because we're so used to the stimulation, we're so used to being filled up with things to do, that even that small moment to just say, hey, I'm here. And I'm happy to have the moment to look out the window and see the sun shining, to know the laundry is done, to know that things are at this current moment where they can be with what I can do. Those are done to a decent point. Will I allow myself to just be? And it's not about being carefree. This isn't about switching on Netflix and just going, oh yeah, whatever. This is about us being able to say, hey, I can be with myself in this moment. It's not even like a crazy self-reflection thing. It's not about finding what you did right or wrong all the time. It's just letting that feeling surface, to recognize it. Letting the sounds around you inspire you, where you notice things that you normally don't get to notice. And in those moments, you finally have real inspiration. There is actually space for creativity. You're allowing that energy to build up. And as it's quiet for longer, the music that you make has more of a sound. There's a stronger distance between each interval, and you notice it. Sometimes if you can meditate for a moment, you might find that there is a bigger distance between each color. Each hue has a more striking difference. Though they might be very close colors, they're actually different. When you relax enough and you allow yourself to feel how the textures of two things might be a little bit more noticeable. Because now we have the mental bandwidth to allow ourselves to feel. And recognizing how important that is one of the most rewarding feelings that I think a lot of us will toss out the window to scroll on our phone, to go hit somebody up. Oh, what's going on? Oh, I'm having a rough day. And then you're listening to them about that. Not that it's not important. You will make time for your friends and your family if you're in a balanced lifestyle. But could you not, for if just a moment, feel the serenity? That silence, that time. And it not just bore you to death because I need more stimulation now. And with that in mind, I want to go over the 4 questions that are in every Toned and Toneful episode. They're different, but there's 4 questions in every episode. And so let's take a moment to go over these 4 questions. Question 1. When you reach a point where everything is finished, do you stay present and enjoy the serenity? Question 2. If you take tasks and distractions out of your day, is it possible for you to relax and enjoy the moment? Question 3. When enjoying the moment, is it possible with minimal stimulation? And last but not least, does silence bore you or depress you? Why can't you be with your thoughts? After asking those questions, you might see that a lot of it is focused around the anxiety and the fear and the inability to connect to true serenity and freedom, and why we must constantly disturb it when a lot of what we're doing, when you talk to people, they say they're fighting for freedom. Somewhere, somehow in your life. Again, financial, career-wise, emotionally, people want to be able to be free to some extent. But when that actual feeling is presented, when that actual situation arises, they trade it for drama, they trade it for more distraction, almost instantly. We must be careful because as we build towards working our focus and consistency, we will encounter freedom. Some of us might encounter a decent amount of it. But being able to utilize that freedom in a great way not only brings great health benefits, but it brings mental clarity. It allows you to learn to focus on things that are outside of just a very stimulated type of situation. Again, the textures of something, the colors of something, and to be able to be in your world to a deeper extent, to the point where you can say, wow, I'm really enjoying this. So this week, when you finally hit some type of freedom in your life, take 10 to 15 minutes and don't fill it with something. Allow yourself to be there. Maybe you're stretching and just listening. Maybe you're on a bike ride, take the headphones out, just let there be no music. Just actually hear the sounds on the street. Hear how people move, how the things are coming up in the distance, and noticing how that is. If you read a book, allow your mind to picture things, not just be counting down how fast you need to be done with your reading or need a movie for it. So with all these thoughts in mind, I really hope you guys enjoyed episode 81, Let Serenity Survive. I hope you guys learn to find that freedom and enjoy it. And above all else, this is going to be the closeout of the Focus and Consistency series for the month of April. And next month, we are moving into the Intuition series and how intuition can guide us through a lot of things and learning to trust the inner part of ourselves, musically, physically, and psychologically. So you guys, above all else, stay toned and toneful.